All right, hello people. Sorry, it's dark, isn't it? Let's try this right quick. Sorry, lighting. There we go, that's better. Okay, so I'm here. It's 1 o'clock. It is time for Save Your Health Sunday. People, that's right. No, we're not talking about these today. We're actually talking about, well, measuring these and measuring what's in these. That's right. So today is health and you. Essentially, what does health mean to you? What is this health thing? If you have not been here before, I'll do a quick little recap for you because we're several weeks into this. So the first week was, intro, hi, hello, I'm the health engineer. Nice to meet you. Second week, and I did kind of a primer on what we're going to talk about. Second week was fitness versus wellness versus health. That's right. The big battle between the three because, well, there's a balance. And if you're out of balance on those three, they will wreck your life. So it's like three superheroes going at it for dominance, okay? Batman versus Superman versus Wonder Woman, okay? That kind of epic battle, all right? I know Batman's just a dude with money, but he's smart. Hey, he beat Superman once. Anyway, but I digress. So we had that. Then we did a little segment on fitness in you. We did a little segment about wellness in you, what those mean to you specifically, how they work for you, how they should be implemented in your life, what they mean to you in your life, okay? And today's going to be health in you. And the reason why I put health at the end is because health is like a measuring stick. It is, okay? Health is your measuring stick. Health is all the numbers, okay? It's your bank account. It's your credit rating, okay? Seriously, it's your credit rating for your body is what health is, okay? Do you have a good credit rating? Do you have a good health credit rating? Or do you have a bad one, all right? Where are you at? Are you in a major deficit, okay? Are you in deep, deep debt? Right? That's usually where people are at. Most people, when you see them walk around, if you have a comorbidity, a disease, an illness, unhealthy way of life, whatever, you are in debt with health, okay? And it takes a while to bring it back. It's like your credit score, okay? It doesn't come back quickly. It takes a while. I know, okay? I'm here with you, people. Life gets tough at times, all right? Whenever you lose everything, and you got to build back up, right? And it takes time if you do it properly. You can cheat, but once people figure out you're cheating on doing that, you get in major trouble. That's a little shout out to all the people that do all the credit repair scams out there. Oh, we can bump your score like 100 points in a weekend. No, they do it by some theft and some other stuff. But I digress. But and people try to do this for health too, okay? When you see the commercials, right? We can take your blood pressure and drop it like that. We can improve your blood sugar scores like that. We can, whatever their miracle thing is, we're gonna fix your health like that. There's a rebound effect on these things, okay? We can help you lose 20 pounds in a week. Yeah, you're gonna gain back that plus about 10, okay? Because it's a fast fix. It's a cheat code, okay? Your body doesn't like cheat codes. You can try to put a cheat code in to improve that score, but the authorities in your body are going to figure out that you just did a cheat code, and they're going to come crashing down on you horribly, all right? Hopefully not so badly that they take everything. What that means is you do something really, really stupid and you cause a major heart issue or kidney issue or lung issue or liver issue, and that's it, okay? So be careful with all these pills and potions and magic unicorn fairy dust that people like to throw out there at you of this one thing is the answer. No, it's not. That one thing might be helpful in some respect over long term, if it's the right time for you and everything else. But so here's the deal. Health is the numbers. This is the numbers game. This is the accounting part. I know people hate it. I hate accounting. Okay, it sucks. You got to deal with numbers, right? When you want to go out and just do, right? But things that get measured get improved. Okay, seriously, it's just it. When you look at anything in the world, when you look at building stuff, or you look at improving a life, or improving your career, or you're an athlete, you're improving your stats, right? You got to measure stuff. What gets measured gets improved. Because if you don't have goals and you don't have measurements, and the measurements are just, it's to check to make sure you're going in the right direction. It's like the stock market, right? The stock market doesn't do that, okay? It does this, okay? Now, what's the remaining factor with the stock market? It's always going to go up. There's ups and downs. But at the end of the day, at the end of the year, at the end of a 5-year cycle or 10-year cycle, it's always going to go up. Look at it now, okay? Seriously. Bad things happen, it'll go down. It will go back up. As long as things are done properly, it will go back up, right? Have you not seen that Super V? It's awesome, by the way. But I digress again. Sorry. I had a great workout. I'm pumped. So, but it's the numbers. It's the measuring stick, okay? All you're doing is measuring progress, okay? And seeing if you're starting to backslide a little bit. If you are starting to backslide, looking at why you're backsliding, right? If you're trying to lose weight and you aren't losing weight anymore, or you start to gain, well, look at the numbers. They're going to tell you why, okay? Are you to a point to where you're still losing fat, but you're starting to gain muscle, right? Or maybe it's a water retention issue, or maybe you just had a little too much sodium the other day, which is a water retention issue. Or maybe you just took a week off and you added a little bit, or you ate a little extra more than you should have, right? So it's the measure. Or maybe you just didn't sleep enough, right? So I'm going to throw some numbers out here right quick, okay? Because these are just like the basic measuring sticks, metrics that everybody look at. You go to your doctor, these are the numbers that they're looking at. And if you're out of what should be out of the norm, okay, out of the norm, just so you know. Why? Well, if they drop numbers down on the norm, that means more people are above the norm, and that means they get to put more people on medications. Sorry, that's just the honest, simple truth of that, all right? Yes, I get the preventative side of that, sort of, but really it comes down to money and getting more people on medications that really just shouldn't be on them, because, well, if you go back and listen to last week on wellness, which is the lifestyle. That will do more for you than a little pharmaceutical goodie, which is actually a cheat code. Seriously, they are. They are all those little pharmaceutical miracles are cheat codes. Why? Because they're not natural. They are produced. They are man-made. Okay. Now they do study natural extracts. Okay, things in nature that have a certain property to it. They isolate it. They put their own little tag and coating on it so they can patent it and sell it for a whole lot more than the actual natural substance, which costs damn near nothing. Okay, that's a really good processing for it. But so if you didn't know that, you know that now. Every pharmaceutical drug out there comes from a natural compound. Every one of them compound they found in a rainforest someplace that they've been studying, and they isolate one little thing out of it, and they take that isolated thing and they will make their own version of it. There you go. There's some pharmaceutical science for you. But the numbers. So here's the norms, okay? Are you ready for this? Because you've probably heard them before, but here's why they are the norms, okay? And kind of what they mean to you. Let's start off with blood pressure, okay? Because blood pressure is a biggie, all right? Blood pressure can tell you a lot of stuff that's going on, not just with body, but also up here, all right? So there's two numbers on it, okay? You got the top number and the bottom number. Yes, systolic and dystolic, okay? And so normally the norm is 120 over 80. What does this mean? Let's start with that bottom number, because that one is the solid base, the foundation, okay? That's the one you gotta watch. Seriously. The top number fluctuates all the time, right? That bottom number really doesn't change much. Why? Because that is what's happening all the time. That's how much pressure you have on your vascular system all the time. Which means, do you have, like, this is your vein. Is it just straining all the time? Because numbers up and you got this high amount of stress there all the time? Or are you in a low pressure situation where there's not much and everything is just very almost collapsing in on itself? Okay? There needs to be a set normal. Okay? The 80 is how much pressure you need to have going through your veins to keep them nice and open, with enough pressure to keep them open, but not so much that they're being stressed. Okay? It's a nice steady pressure. The top portion, okay, that 120, right? And that one goes up and out, right? Throughout the day, whenever you're stressed, whenever you're working out, whatever, that number can go really high and it can go a little bit low. Okay, the 120 over 80 is just the norm for everybody, right? If you take 1 million people and you measure them all, that should be about the average for everybody, okay? Some people are going to have a little bit lower than that. Some people are going to have a little higher than that. This is from genetic variation, all right? But that's the number they want everybody to kind of stick around, right? Now, that upper number, it can fluctuate. Now, you don't want it really high all the time. You don't want a 130 over 80, because that means every time your heart beats and it pumps out, you got this big gush going through. So you got this pipe, and you got this big gush that you got to go through every time. So the 120 over 80 is just a nice, steady, rhythmic flow. You get the 120 or the 130, 140, 160, 180. It's okay, straightening every time. You do that enough, it's going to put a lot of pressure on you. Now, exercise helps out with this, because exercise gets those arteries, which, if you didn't know, your arteries are actually muscle. Okay, they are soft muscle. Okay, because they're stretchy, right? And they've got some other textures in them as well. So collagen is a big thing. I'll talk about collagen later on, but it's made of collagen and muscle fiber and all kinds of other stuff. Because it's supposed to be able to do this, right? Okay, it's supposed to expand and contract, but you don't want to contract down too much. You don't want to expand too much, otherwise, you get this thing called an aneurysm, or you'll have internal bleeding, which means you've got a little hole that pokes in it. You've got blood going out into your inner space. And know this, the blood goes through the veins. You don't just have light blood around you. It's going through the vascular system, okay? All these little tunnels you got running through. See those cool blue things there? That's where the blood goes. It's not supposed to be everywhere else, okay? It's supposed to be in those tunnels. You want it to stay in those tunnels. You want those tunnels to be healthy. So that's a biggie. If your blood pressure is high, especially that bottom number, if that bottom number is high, it's usually due to some major stress back here in the back of your head. Stuff that you're dealing with internally that's causing you pressure. And that pressure is increased. That's why that number's increased, okay? So if you have internal stress, that number is going to be up. The top number is external stresses, okay? That means you just ran, you're working out. You carried all your groceries into the house in one load, okay? The kid is screaming, right? Whatever. You're outside with people and we don't want to be around people. That's for the introverts out there. You're stuck inside without people when you want to be out with people. That's for the extroverts out there. Y'all been dealing with that, right? And that also makes that bottom number really jump up, okay? So, blood pressure is a measure of stress, systemic stress, okay, on your vascular system, right? So if you're stressed out, it's going to be up. If you're chill, it's going to be down, okay? This goes with resting heart rate, okay? Whatever your resting heart rate is, which should be 60 beats per minute or less, okay? Lance Armstrong's is like 26. The man sitting here is literally almost dead, okay? 26 beats a minute, okay? That means over the course of a minute. It only beats, yeah, very few times. It's like dump, dump, a beat. Sorry, connection issues. I'm back. So, but realize that, and the better health you get into, okay, the lower that resting heart rate is going to be, which means you have less beats going on because you have more blood volume that you can put out with every beat of your heart, which means you have more oxygen going in your system, which means, well, your body's just running more efficiently, okay? And if you didn't know, you only have so many beats in this thing, okay? Seriously, you only have a certain number of beats in a lifetime. Now, this stuff out here, when done properly, and with nutrition done properly, you can get a few more beats out of it, okay? But if it's constantly going all day, constantly, and like your resting heart rate is 70, 80, and it's that number over the course of a day is much bigger than coming and doing a workout, okay? And hitting like 180 for like that long, okay? Or even 120 for that long, right? So the goal is to get your heart rate to where it's down because your body is running efficiently, okay? This way, it extends your life. It takes so much stress off your heart because your heart is strong enough to just give a good push, and you get blood everywhere. And you get a good push, and blood goes everywhere. Instead of, oh, I gotta push, because there's all this resistance, right? So that's those two. Cholesterol. Number on that, 200. Actually, they've moved that down to like 180 now, which is ridiculous, or 185. But the goals have it under 200. It used to be under 230 back in like the 70s, okay? They keep on dropping that number down because they get more people put onto all the cholesterol medications. Sorry, that's just how it goes. That's the reality of it. Sorry, let me fix this right quick. There we go. Sorry, lighting issues. So with cholesterol, once again, it's a stress indicator. If you're highly stressed, that number is going to be up all the time because the cholesterol, okay, both the HDL and the LDL. The HDL, think of H as, oh, okay, that's the good one, hero, HDL, versus the loser, which is the LDL, loser, because that's the bad one. It's really not a bad one, okay? It's just two different things. So here's what happens. You get stressed. Your vascular system gets stressed, okay? And when it does, it starts getting little potholes, like the roadways out here, okay? Because you've got Mack trucks and stuff running through it, known as like sugar and undigested proteins and all kinds of other stuff, just wreaking havoc in your veins, not having enough vitamin C to help repair, not having enough collagen to repair, right? So what does cholesterol do? Cholesterol comes over, it's kind of the road crew, it sets up all the workstations around it, starts filling the hole with the cholesterol plaque, which is mostly what? Calcium. That's right, you get calcium deposits in your veins, okay? They're trying to fill those holes with this stuff that doesn't really move much, and they're blocking up lanes on the freeway. You got the 6-lane highway and you're down to 2 lanes. That's going to cause a lot of issues. Seriously, that's how it works, okay? It's trying to stuff these potholes before they turn into full holes, and then you bleed out, okay? That's what happens whenever you have high cholesterol. It is literally trying to save you. It's trying to save your life. It's trying to save your vascular system because it's under stress. It's getting holes in it, and so it's just plugging the holes. That's seriously, nobody's ever told you that. That's how that works, just from a simplified version, right? So yeah, the cholesterol goes up because your body needs more of it to plug all these holes because you're not taking care of your highway system. So there's that. And then, yes, your stress load. Your diet's bad, you're drinking too much, whatever. The liver can't function well. So your body can't process cholesterol as it should, and that still bumps it up. Why? Just stress. Once again, it's another stress indicator. Notice most all this goes back to stress. Some of it external, some of it internal, some of it just bad decision making over the course of a day, whatever you're eating, drinking, okay? people that you're around, influences that you allow in your life, all that stuff, right? So that's how those work. Really cool study. So they took a group of F1 drivers. This was done back in, I believe, the 70s. They did blood testing before a race, during a race, and after a race, okay? Testing cholesterol levels. Before a race, perfect numbers. During a race, worst numbers ever. I mean, their cholesterol was through the roof. Is ridiculous because of all the stress load on them, on their vascular system, mentally, physically, emotionally. I mean, it's seriously, driving F1, going 200 miles an hour, and then 60 miles an hour, and back to 200 in turns and everything else, and not hitting somebody. It's tough stuff, right? Okay, it's a workout. It will beat you up, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. Plus, your adrenal levels are all over the place, right? So, somebody spins that in front of you. Think about the last time you were behind somebody and they kind of brake checked you, and you're like, oh, okay. Do that at 200 miles an hour. Anyway, they did that. They tested them after the race, and then I think it was an hour and a half, 2 hours after the race, their numbers went from perfect to like, oh my God, how are you not dead? To back to perfect. Stress response, okay, on the cholesterol. So it's there to save it's trying to save your life, okay? It's not killing you, it's trying to save your life. However, because it's causing all the blockages to increase, because you want to improve your life, how you live and what you eat, well, those just get worse and worse and worse, right? And then you have like roadways shut down, and you shut down a roadway, stuff can't happen. You get blockages. Seriously, that's how it works. So there's cholesterol for you. How do you manage it? Stress, eating better, hydration, more magnesium. Magnesium's a biggie right there because it helps take that excess calcium and pulls it out. Anyway, A1C for diabetics out there, y'all know about this one, especially for type 2. A1C, the goal is to have that below a 5.7, okay? And so here's the deal with A1C. It's a measurement of, well, it's glycogen. All right, but it's also looking at inflammation in your system. It is systemic inflammation is really what they're measuring, okay? That's why they do a measurement over the course of several months, because they want to see what's happening. It takes a while for inflammation to change in your system. It does. It's not quick. It's not overnight. It's not like, I've got full inflammation and then, after drinking some 8.0 or 10.0 water, your inflammation's gone. No, it doesn't work that way. So, hate to be the bearer of bad news, but drinking some high pH water a couple times ain't gonna do it. All right. In fact, it'll throw you out of balance, and then you'll revert back the other way. Anyway, so it's a long-term thing. This is why they measure it over. It's a 3-month marker, okay, on systemic inflammation, essentially, measured by glycated sugars and stuff like that in your system. Anyway, so here's the big with that. Make sure it's down, okay? And once again, it's lifestyle, it's wellness, it's sleep, it's stress, it's the food, it's how much water you're drinking. I don't care about the 8.0, 10.0 waters. That's so short-lived, okay? Plain Jane 7.0 water, okay? Just to bring you to balance. We're looking for balance, okay? Balance takes time. And reducing your sugar intake, right? Increasing your good fats, increasing your proteins, increasing your fiber intake, okay? Blood sugar, once again, blood sugar, just sitting, fasting blood sugar should be 85-ish, okay? You start getting up into the 90s, you get into 100. Actually, if you hit 90 on a fasting, they start pushing the whole, well, you're pre-diabetic. We gotta start looking at stuff, okay? They'll start talking about what medications to start putting you on at that point. They don't even wait till you hit 100, okay? They bumped it down. But the goal is to be about 85. You don't want dropping too low, because you drop too low and, well, you pass out, right? That's when you get down to like the 70, 65 range. You're passing out. There's a happy medium in there. So, 85 for livability, right? And, after a meal, it's going to bump up to, 110, 120 after a meal. Okay, especially after workouts. You get a nice big sugar bump after having one of these. That's why you feel good afterwards. A little sugar rush of sorts. But blood sugar, huge issue, okay? Making sure that that is where it's supposed to be. Sleep. And sleep's a biggie, which is, well, how much should I sleep? That's somewhat variable. It varies, okay? Generally, 8 hours, okay? Why? So you have overnight processing. Here's the deal with sleep, okay? Here's why it's so important. Your computer, your phone, anything like that, it starts to freak out, freaks out on you, whatever, right? What happens? Well, turn it off, turn it back on again. It resets. In fact, turn it off, unplug it for 15 seconds, plug it back in, turn it back on. Everything resets, right? It gets to do some processing. It gets to do some cleanup work, okay? From that shutdown time to the turn back on time, which means you got to shut down properly, okay, and then turn it off, let it rest, then turn it back on, let it do its processing, get back up, right? And then it's, oh my God, it's working now. It's not glitchy anymore. Why? Because you finally turned the thing off, and it finally got to do some shutdown stuff. It finally got to do some processing, some clean out, right? And then it came back up, and it works. You worked that. This thing is a supercomputer. If you have not figured this out, okay? Science has been trying to figure this thing out, and they still haven't yet. Why? Because it's the best supercomputer on the earth. I know we got some really cool supercomputers. You can do like computing power, right? It can work like, multiple minds all at once to compute stuff. That's it. It doesn't have consciousness, memory, and everything else. Hey, come on. But, okay, sleep. Highly important. And measuring that, measuring your quality of sleep. As in, yeah, you may have your head on the pillow for 8 hours, but did you actually sleep? Did you get into REM? Did you do REM 1, REM 2, REM 3? Okay? Did you move through that cycle? Did you do it twice in a night? Right? Were you interrupted in your sleeping? Here's the thing. If you don't have that going, you don't get to recover. Your brain doesn't get to recover. Your brain actually starts to eat itself because it can't process things. It can't repair itself, okay? It starts to waste away like muscle. It's like if you came in here and you worked out for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on end, your muscles would start to eat themselves because you would be overstressing them, and they would have to consume themselves because, well, they've got to have energy from somewhere, right? So your brain, sleep, is the shutdown time. That's when you power down and you turn it off and you unplug it. So we can do the processing. That's why you dream, okay? And you should be having dreams when you sleep. That means you're sleeping. There's processing going on. Your brain is trying to rectify stuff from an hour before, from the day before, from the week before, from 30 years ago. It's probably still rectifying stuff from then. It has to do that, okay? Another way to think about this, life is a race, okay? Imagine we're in a race. We're in a race car right now. We're going around a track, right? You're racing all day. Well, you got to take that car off the track at some point, put it in the pits. The mechanics have to work on that car overnight to get it ready for the race the next day. If you don't give them ample time to do that, then you have to go back down the track with your mechanics on the car, working on the car while you're going around that track, which means you can't go very fast, and you're probably going to kill a lot of your mechanics because, well, I mean, come on, you're going around a racetrack. Mechanics on your car. It ain't going to work. So that's it. You got to take your race car, you got to put it in the shop, let those mechanics do their work overnight, okay? So magical mechanical fairies of Sleepyland do their stuff, okay? They get you put back together, they do their overnight processing, and you wake up. And the dreams is because of all the wild stuff they've been doing up here, okay? Seriously, that needs to be measured. How do you measure that? Well, I'm not wearing my Garmin. I sell them, by the way. But get one of those. If you're starting on this health journey, right, you have to measure. You've got to have a measuring stick, Okay, you've got to have a way of looking back and referencing to see what is going on. And after a while, you can take it off because you know what's going on. You feel it. You know it. It's just your lifestyle. You know when you've gone over on a meal, when you haven't had a good night's sleep, etc. Okay, you can intuitively measure these things. Right now, it's a good secondary check after you've been doing it for a year or so. But man, that first year, having that measuring tool to measure the calories going in, your activity level, your stress levels, okay, your sleep. Are you sleeping deeply at night? Are you not sleeping deeply at night? Okay, it's hugely profound. Okay, and knowing what your heart rate is throughout the day. What is your resting heart? You can measure that stuff. You can. Once I talked about stress level, respiration rate. All that can be seen. Okay, you can see it there, beautifully formatted. Your trainer can see it too. You can connect, right? And so from a measuring standpoint, so you can measure these health things, these health numbers, so you can see your health credit score and make sure that it's going up, right? And it's not stalling out and it's not going down. You're not doing some stupid spending and all that other stuff. After a year, yeah, you can probably toss that thing away. I recommend not doing that. Keep it on. Just it's an extra measuring stick. Plus, their watches are so cool now. Seriously, they are. Or you can do that if you're an Apple person. Okay, pains me to say this because I'm Android. If you're an Apple person, the iWatch, that brand new iWatch, is awesome. Okay, I will admit it. They did a great job on that brand new iWatch. Get that, hook it up to your phone, and let that thing measure stuff for you. They did a great job with it. Okay, I'll give them props on that. The first one sucked. They've gotten much better. Fitbit, just don't even. Sorry, I did a deal with Garmin. Okay, I've looked at everything in the market space, but have that as a measuring stick. Do the blood test, just so you can see what's going on. Okay, once again, it's numbers. You're just looking to see numbers. Where are we at right now on this thing, right? And blood tests are just in that moment, like literally right when they test it. That's what's going on right then. 5 minutes later, it could be completely different. Okay, that's why blood tests, take them with a major, huge grain of salt. Okay, don't take any salt before you have them, but take them with a major, huge grain of salt. Okay, it's not the end-all, be-all. It's just what happened right then when they took that blood. It's not alive. It's not living. Okay, living blood tests, those are cool too. You can kind of see what's going on. There's other testing out there besides those, but just to give you some numbers and some metrics to measure as you go through this journey and as you continue on with the journey. Okay, knowing those is huge. Once again, it's like looking at your bank account. It's like looking at your investments. It's like looking at your credit score. It's all just numbers for measuring. It's it. Okay? That's it. It's just numbers for measuring. It's all you need them for. They don't reflect on you as a person, okay? Other than, are you doing good or bad? Okay, if you're doing bad, well, are you doing things to improve? Well, then awesome. If you're not doing things to improve, why not? Right? If you don't know where to start, hello, health engineer. That's what I do. There's other people out there that do this stuff, but not like me. I mean to brag, but I am. So anyway, but that's it. That is health in you. That's what health means. Health is it's the measuring stick. Okay, health is just measuring this fitness and wellness thing, and making sure that what you're doing on the fitness side and what you're doing on the wellness side are working well together. Because if they're working well together, this one is going to show it. Okay. That's how they work. If you're doing too much here, not enough here, this thing's going to show it. If you're doing too much here, not enough here, this thing's going to show it. If you're doing nothing here, this thing's really going to show it. And if you live and die by this thing, okay, you're going to stress yourself out completely, and no matter what you do here, everything's going to fall apart. All right, that's how they work together. That's our preview for next week. Okay, next week's going to be the big, epic, awesome Justice League, the Zack Snyder version of this whole thing. because we know the Zack Snyder version is going to be so much better. I'm pumped. I'm sorry if you're not a comic book nerd. If you are, nerd out with me right now. If you're not, I'm sorry, but it's going to be awesome. Okay, that's enough for me today. Do good things for yourself every day so you can do great things for other people every day. That's why we're here. Hope you enjoyed it. Please share this out to anybody that needs to hear it, especially with all this stuff, because seriously, I want to make this real for everybody and break it down into something that's digestible. Okay, because otherwise, I can go Bill Nye, the science guy, on you, and actually more so than him, because he's really not a scientist. He's an actor that plays a scientist. If you didn't know that, you know that now. Okay, I will go Dr. Oz on you, real Dr. Oz, because that man's brilliant, by the way. I really admire that guy. But there you go. There's some basic, simple principles here on health, and it's just a measuring stick. Okay, that's all. It's a measuring. It's not a beating stick. Okay, it's not there to beat yourself with when you do bad things. It's not. It's a measuring stick, not a beating stick. A measuring stick. Okay, that's it. There you go. Have a great day. I will see you next week. It's going to be fitness plus wellness plus health. The huge Zack Snyder version, Justice League of those three epic things coming together for you. Okay, there you go. Have a great week. Please share this out to anybody that needs to see it. And if I can help you out, contact me here. Go to the website, theclintfuquay.com. That's capital THE, the health engineer. Take a look at everything I've got on there. Multiple services to help everybody out there. Multiple things for you, products, etc. as well to help enhance your health and your life and your wellness and your fitness. And then, of course, well, you got me for health coaching, personal training, corporate wellness, speaking, anything like that. I'm your man. There you go. Take care. See y'all next week.